Na hujambo mpenzi mtazamaji na karibu. Natumai ubuheri wa afya. Ikiwa leo ni siku ya Alhamisi, siku ambayo tunakujuza kwa kina yanayotendeka katika kanda hii ya Afrika Mashariki, haswa katika ulimwengu wa kibiashara. Mimi ni Sadamu Bale na asante kwa kujiunga nami. Haya ndiyo tuliyokuandalia katika awamu ya leo. Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have agreed to jointly construct a 1,200-kilometer road which links the two countries and, as a result, boosting the economies of the two countries. The two heads of states tasked the ministers for both sides to make sure that what has been discussed is implemented within a period of not more than 2 months. President Felix Tshisekedi and his host Yoweri Kaguta Museveni agreed to track the implementation of infrastructure projects to increase trade and investment between the two countries. The two were committed toward solving numerous trade restrictive measures and infrastructure bottlenecks which have increased the cost of doing business within the region.
Congo and East Africa have been having the trade since time immemorial. This part of the world was divided into 5 parts, five zones. There was the zone of the coast of the Indian Ocean. If you look at the trade figures of Africa, you'll find now they're importing a lot from China, from India, from Japan. Now, when you are importing from China, from Japan, you are supporting the prosperity of the Japanese. So I really appeal to Africans to wake up. Africains, beaucoup dormir. We need the market of the whole of Africa. And there should be no taxes on the border. There should be no taxes. What we should concentrate on is the quality good. Then the business can produce where it is cheapest. This is good for everybody. The citizens of Africa get cheap and good quality goods.
Research from the Uganda National Bureau of Statistics show that the volume of trade between Uganda and Congo is anticipated to be $531 million by July 20, which is largely informal. The two countries discussed the need to undertake the Joint Development Key Network within 24 hours, which will operate in the areas of Mbondwe in Beni Road, which is about 977 kilometers, Goli Bunia Road 181 kilometers, and Bunagana Rashuru Road, which is about 22 kilometers.
Une longue frontière, mais aussi un pays avec lequel la RDC commerce de façon quotidienne.
DRC and Uganda have exchanged commercially for a long time, and not only on the economic level, but we share a greater space that borders the two countries. In Congo, we are working hard to improve the quality of services provided by institutions and to facilitate better investment and collaboration between the two countries.
Ils doivent donc être assurés que l'agence d'exportation.
Okay, to a new agency of exportation, and it's at a national level.
Là aussi, les producteurs exportateurs ougandais qui investiront en République démocratique du Congo vont trouver des facilités.
This will facilitate for every exporters from Uganda who are coming to export into the Congo.
Je voudrais donc aller très vite.
I like to go a little bit faster.
En termes de ressources, vous avez 80 millions d'habitants au moins. C'est un marché. C'est aussi une dynamique en termes d'efforts de la jeunesse. C'est une demande solvable sûre.
This is an assured deal.
Vous avez Je ne peux pas vous parler des minerais d'Aïe.
However, the suggested areas are affected with several rebel activities, which include the Allied Democratic Forces, which is responsible for several killings and abductions within the region. The Congolese Armed Forces announced a major military attack on the ADF rebels that it has killed 25 on the first day of the attack earlier this week. The two presidents directed their ministers in charge of foreign affairs, infrastructure and trade to meet and agree on the implementation modalities within the 2 months period. The two leaders also revealed the state of peace and security in the Great Lakes region and noted that the region still faces a number of challenges that hinder stability and development. They agreed to work together with other countries to curb issues of negative forces and other armed forces, especially in the Eastern Congo region. Earlier on, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sam Kutesa, said the issue of negative forces require a combined joint effort to get rid of them and deny them the sanctuary to operate, which will contribute to a peaceful environment for trade. Congolese president also called upon the formation of a joint business forum, which will act as a platform to resolve and facilitate business in the private sector. President Museveni, on the other hand, welcomed the Congo's application idea to join the East African community, which shall have to wait till 30th of November 2019, when the heads of states within the bloc will be meeting in Arusha, Tanzania. The pledge to build a new road on the Eastern Congo centers comes despite the fact that they have been attacked by different rebel groups, which Congo says is currently fighting and is also committed towards ending the rampant Ebola outbreaks in the region.
Tu allais dire, je suis parmi la délégation congolaise, t'approches.
Mais tu as pu prendre les images.
Tu es trop loin.
Mais il a tiré. Je vais tirer un peu de loin.
The East African member states prepare to celebrate 20 years since the establishment and signing of the East African Charter. Uganda has been chosen to establish the East African Fusion and Liaison Unit as a way of combating terrorism and extremism in the East African community, and this is in line with the resolution of peace and security by the African Union. Shamira Nagawa with the report.
Drawing from the experience of the Sahel region on tracking terrorism and extremism, the Council encouraged the establishment of the East African Fusion and Liaison Units.
The establishment of the East African Fusion and Liaison Unit in line with the resolution of the Peace and Security Council of the African Union. In September 2014, the Peace and Security of African Union sitting in Nairobi, Kenya, at the level of heads of state and government, noted with concern the increasing scourge of terrorism and violent extremism, especially in the northern, eastern and central Africa.
According to Maganda Julius Wandera, Minister of State for East African Community Affairs, the Council also observed the growing linkages between terrorism and extremism on one hand and transitional crime on the other, with the threat they pose to peace, security, stability and development of Africa. He added that there are three main reasons which prompted the establishment of the Fusion and Liaison Units, including coordinating exchange of information, analysis and operations against the threats of terrorism, extremism and transboundary crime.
The Council also observed the growing linkages between terrorism and extremism on one hand and the transitional crime on the other hand, and the threat they pose to peace, security, and the stability and the development of Africa. Drawing from the experience of the Sahel region on tackling terrorism and extremism, the Council encouraged the establishment of the Fusion and Liaison Unit. Accordingly, Uganda was chosen to host the East African Fusion and Liaison Unit, and the main reason for the establishment of this Fusion and Liaison Unit is to coordinate exchange of information, analysis and operations against the threats of terrorism, extremism, and transboundary crime.
Facilitating security agencies in the region in sharing intelligence and in coordinating operations to combat terrorism crime, creation and operation of a database on terrorism and other forms of organized crime.
It will also facilitate security agencies in the region in sharing intelligence and coordinating operations. And then it will also create and operate the database on terrorism and other forms of organized crime. And the East African Fusion and Liaison Unit comprises of the intelligence and security services of the following countries. And this we have Burundi, we have Djibouti, Ethiopia, we have Kenya, we have Rwanda, Somali, we have also South Sudan, we have Sudan, we have Tanzania and Uganda, which will be hosting.
In September 2014, the Peace and Security Council of the African Union in Nairobi, Kenya, at the level of heads of state and government, noted with concern the increasing terrorism and violent extremism, especially in the northern, eastern and central Africa.
In the council which sat in Nairobi in 2014, deliberated and agreed that each partner state will do a fund in terms to the budget, but the most important thing is also the African Union has a particular amount of money that is being established through the Security Council that they will contribute towards this organization. But as much as I know, right now, already the partner states who are already involved in this program have already made their contribution. Most of these countries have even sent their liaison officers, and it is one of the areas that I believe may not have issues towards funding, because security is a very key item on the development of each country.
Despite Uganda being the home for the licensed staff, Wandera noted that Ugandans will surely benefit highly in this initiative, saying that the youth will be able to acquire knowledge on how they can curb the vice of terrorism and ways they can fight it, so it does not come to Uganda. It should be recalled that on 20th February 2007, the United Nations Security Council authorized the African Union to deploy a peacekeeping mission with a mandate of 6 months, adopting Resolution 1744. The aim of the peacekeeping mission was to support a National Reconciliation Congress and requested a report within 60 days on a possible United Nations peacekeeping mission. In October 2014, the Security Council gave a green light to the African Union to continue its mission in Somalia until 30th November 2015. Furthermore, the Council authorized the African Union mission to take all measures as appropriate to carry out support for dialogue and reconciliation by assisting with free movement, safe passage and protecting of all those involved in a National Reconciliation Congress involving all stakeholders, including political leaders, clan leaders, religious leaders and representatives of civil society. In August 2017, the UN Security Council issued Resolution 2372, enabling the gradual handing over of security responsibilities from AMISOM to the Somalia Security Forces contingent on abilities of the Somali Security Forces and political security progress in Somalia. This comes at a time the East African community will be celebrating 20 years this year under the theme Deepening Integration, Widening Cooperation.
The African community will be 20 years old. To jog our memory, the treaty re-establishing the East African community was signed on the 30th November 1999. Accordingly, 30th November is an important date in the East African community integration process, and it is observed every year. Uganda will join other partner states to celebrate this milestone under the theme East African Community at 20, deepening integration and widening cooperation.
East African Community that initially comprised of Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania was founded in 1967 and dissolved in 1977.
Time and dedicated person to ensure that Africa that was divided should come together, because there is everything to gain and everything to lose by being apart. It gives me great pleasure.
Following the dissolution in 1977, the partner states negotiated a mediation agreement for the diversion of assets and liabilities, which they signed in 1984. Within the 20 years, the East African Community has grown stronger.
Union, which has integrated all the custom systems within the region, making it easier for the partner states and all the organization of revenue authorities to link their systems into the tax system, so that it is the trading of goods and services across board, and also the tax collection for traders. It has also reduced on the number of days which we have been taking into the process of clearance of goods, from 19 days now to 4 days. And this also brought out an element of the common market, where the customs union facilitates the implementation of the common market. And this supports the free movement of goods, services and people within the region.
From the original 3 member states to now 6 partner states with a land area of 2.5 million square kilometers, a population of over 170 million people, and a combined gross domestic product of over 170 billion US, where Uganda has gained several achievements, including a boost in the economy to $27.48 billion nominal GDP as of 2018, improved trade and simplified cross-border travel within the East African countries. This has also enabled East African Community trade.
The new program of using the identity card, where the partner states are now on board. We have Uganda, Kenya and Rwanda, where we can use our national IDs. Tanzania, Burundi, South Sudan are yet to come on board, as they intend to harmonize their system. And also we have now, as per the directive, that all countries are now issuing the passports, the East African passports. And this process began in 2019 and will lapse the old ordinary passports by 2021, around February. This is one of the things that the region is now benefiting due to the existence of East African Community Affairs. Concluding, the regulations establish the monetary union. Bills have been passed, and we believe by 2024 we should have completed the final part of establishing the Central Bank of East African Community Affairs.
East African countries have combined forces in other activities like joint training exercise in Uganda, which is the 12th edition of the East African Community, with Armed Forces Command Post exercise at the Uganda Rapid Deployment Capability Center. While opening the training, Uganda's Minister of State for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Dr. Bright Ramirama said that the survival of the East African community depends on cooperation, unity and purpose among its member states and their citizens. The exercise mainly aims at promoting the East African community integration agenda through cooperation.
Na basi kufikia hapo, hayo ndio tuliokuandalia katika awamu yetu ya leo ya kipindi cha Karibu East Africa. Tuonane Alhamisi ijayo panapo majaliwa.
Smart 24.